Welcome to Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Erin Viner.
In our top story, the U.S. Embassy will make the shift from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem on Israel's 70th birthday. The White House announced that its official diplomatic mission will be established in the capital much earlier than expected. The U.S. ambassador and his staff have been instructed to prepare to move by May 14th of this year. The State Department confirmed that the transfer will coincide with the 70th anniversary of the birth of the modern state of Israel. U.S. President Donald Trump, speaking at the Conservative Action Conference, said he is confident in his decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital, and he accelerated the embassy move despite enormous pressure not to do so. The president said several foreign countries voiced opposition to his decision and even begged him not to do it. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu welcomed the announcement, saying that it will turn Israel's 70th Independence Day into a much greater celebration. He invited President Trump to attend the ribbon-cutting ceremony in the Holy City.
Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas went to the United Nations Security Council to urge its members to unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. The PA boss said that Washington's decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital destroyed America's credibility as a peace broker. He insisted that the declaration be rescinded. When Abbas finished speaking, he left without acknowledging the U.S. or Israeli ambassadors or listening to their responses. Jerusalem's envoy to the world body pointed out that Abbas is running away from peace again. Danny Danon said that Abbas has refused to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to discuss peace for 7 years. He noted that the Arab leader speaks differently when he addresses his people. He incites them to violence, and he has used more than half of the total foreign aid given to the Palestinians to fund terror. Nikki Haley also responded to Abbas and his chief negotiator, Saeb Erekat, who said just a week earlier that the American diplomat should shut up. Yochanan has more on that.
Yes, Aaron, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, called on Mahmoud Abbas to choose the path of negotiation and compromise rather than the path of absolute demands, hateful rhetoric, and incitement to violence. Responding to Erekat's call for her to shut up, Haley said she will not shut up, but instead will speak some hard truths. The American envoy cautioned that if the PA leadership does not return to direct negotiations with Israel, the Palestinian people will get nowhere toward the achievement of their aspirations.
More than 500 Syrians have been killed in a new round of airstrikes on the suburbs of Damascus. The United Nations Security Council unanimously approved a resolution calling for a 30-day ceasefire in order to allow humanitarian aid to millions of civilians and the evacuation of the critically ill and wounded. Members of the Syrian opposition claim that Russian warplanes are taking part in the bombing of the Damascus suburb known as Ghouta. They also say that Bashar al-Assad's army is dropping phosphorus and chlorine bombs.
The International Atomic Energy Agency has released a report which reveals that Tehran is seeking to develop nuclear-powered submarines. In December, President Hassan Rouhani ordered Iranian scientists to start working on nuclear propulsion for ships and subs, and ordered Iran's Atomic Energy Organization to begin planning the design and production of nuclear fuel reactors for maritime transport. In January, the hardline Islamic Republic sent a letter to the IAEA stating its intent to construct nuclear-powered submarines.
Israel has released satellite images of two of Russia's most advanced stealth fighter jets stationed in Syria. Images of the sophisticated fifth-generation stealth planes were captured over the seaside city of Latakia. The arrival of the jets came with a warning to Israel from a Russian official who said that the planes will serve as a deterrent for aircraft from neighboring states which periodically fly into Syrian airspace uninvited. Israel destroyed several Iranian military sites in February after an Iranian drone launched from Syria infiltrated Israeli airspace. The chairman of Russia's Military Industry Committee in the Russian parliament told Sputnik News that the jets need to be tested in combat conditions.
The IDF has announced that it thwarted an Islamic State terror attack on an Australian airline. The IDF's elite 8200 military intelligence unit discovered the plot. A senior IDF official said the unit saved dozens of innocent lives and proved that it is a major player in the intelligence fight against the Islamic State. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu broke the news by thanking Israel's intelligence services. He said this is just one of dozens of terrorist attacks Israel has stopped around the world, and he said the Jewish state deserves all the support, not only for protecting its own citizens, but for protecting people worldwide. Australia's Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton confirmed the report and said that he wants to thank Israel for working closely with Australian authorities to stop what he called one of the most sophisticated plots ever attempted on Australian soil.
Iranian forces are operating out of at least 10 military bases in Syria. According to a report in the New York Times, Iran has established its own facilities in the war-torn country and is training militias for a conflict with Israel. The article says that up to 20,000 soldiers have received instruction from Iranian advisors, and it added that at least 6,000 Iranian-trained combatants are members of Hezbollah. Two of the main Iranian military installations are located south of Damascus, near the border with Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responded to this news by saying that Israel will not allow Iran's regime to put a noose of terror around our neck. He said that we will act without hesitation to defend ourselves, and we will act if necessary, not just against Iran's proxies that are attacking us, but also against Iran itself.
A top Palestinian official has been caught with his hand in the cookie jar. That cookie jar just happens to be aid money from the European Union. According to an exclusive report by I-24 News, Marwan Durzi, the head of the Palestinian Coordination Office for Zone C, stole hundreds of thousands of dollars. The Arab administrator used the stolen funds to landscape his private residence, to take family vacations, and to purchase a wide variety of electronic gadgets, including computers, laptops, tablets, and cell phones. He also spent nearly $100,000 on jewelry and clothes. Durzi's office claimed that it received only about 70% of the money that the EU actually provided. A leader of Jewish communities in Judea and Samaria said the population in Israel's heartland is growing rapidly. Yaakov Katz pointed out that Jewish towns in these areas grew at nearly twice the rate of Israel's overall population last year. He gave partial credit to President Donald Trump for this development and said he believes that growth in these communities will surge even more in the coming years. He thanked the president and praised him for creating a friendly new atmosphere conducive to the expansion of towns in Judea and Samaria after 8 contentious years with the Obama White House.
The tomb of Joshua bin Nun of biblical fame has been vandalized again. Joshua is buried in the modern Arab town of Kifl Haras, northwest of Ariel. Jews are forbidden from entering the area except with special permission and an IDF escort. Last week, on the anniversary of the death of Moses, a group of 1,000 Jews were devastated to find the tomb vandalized and spray-painted with swastikas. Israeli soldiers escort faithful Jews to the holy site at great risk. In December, they were attacked in the same village by a mob of Arabs who threw rocks and Molotov cocktails at them.
A group of American professional football players visited Israel recently and were hosted in the Knesset as guests of honor. 7 members of the National Football League were in the Holy Land as part of the Voices for Israel delegation, which brings celebrities to the Jewish state. The head of the organization said that by seeing the country up close, people began to understand the complexities of the situation in the Holy Land. The athletes met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who called on them to be gladiators for Israel. He said, "All of you have an enormous following, and Israel is fighting in your arena in the battle for truth." Netanyahu told the NFL stars, "I think the most important part of your visit is that having seen the truth about Israel, you can now fight for it." An Israeli ophthalmologist announced that he has created an eye-repairing drop that could eliminate the need for glasses. Dr. David Samaja developed nanodrops at the Ariel University's Institute of Nanotechnology and Advanced Materials. The nanoparticle solution has produced improvements in far and near-sightedness in animals. Dr. Samaja said there are even ways to use nanodrops to replace multifocal lenses so that people could see objects from various distances without the use of glasses. Clinical testing of nanodrops on humans will begin later this year. Aaron, I, for one, could use some of those nanodrops today.
I see what you mean, Yochanan. And hey, speaking of new developments, an Israeli startup company has come up with an electricity-free cooling solution for sunny climates. Sol Cold Super Paint utilizes the sun's power to activate a cooling mechanism, creating air conditioning without electricity. This double-layer coating converts the sun's rays into cold energy. The hotter the solar radiation, the more the coating works to cool the interior. This technology is especially applicable in hot, sunny climates such as Africa, South America, and the Middle East. Gadi Grotus, the co-founder of Sol Cold, boasted that his product is 100% green and free of carbon emissions. He said that the paint can decrease electricity consumption by up to 60% and is expected to last for up to 15 years before a new coat needs to be applied.
Israeli archaeologists believe they have unearthed a 2,700-year-old seal belonging to the biblical prophet Isaiah. Dr. Eilat Mazar and her team have been excavating at the southern wall of the Temple Mount in the Old City of Jerusalem. They have discovered a variety of First Temple remains, including an impression bearing the words, "belonging to Isaiah." The ancient seal is not intact, and some of the words are partially broken, leading many skeptics to discount the possibility that one of the partial words spells prophet. In 2015, Dr. Mazar and her team discovered a seal marked with the name King Hezekiah of Judah. It was found just 10 feet from where the Isaiah inscription was discovered. The Bible describes a close relationship between King Hezekiah and Isaiah, and Dr. Mazar said that it makes sense that the two seals would be found in such close proximity. She said the names of King Hezekiah and the prophet Isaiah are mentioned in one breath 14 of the 29 times Isaiah's name is inscribed in the Bible. She noted that no other figure was closer to King Hezekiah than the prophet Isaiah.
Jews throughout the world celebrated the holiday of Purim last week. This fast and subsequent celebration commemorates the pardon of the Jews of Persia by King Ahasuerus after they were decreed to die. Thanks to Queen Esther's bravery and the faithfulness of the Jews, the decree was rescinded and the Jews were allowed to live and thrive in Persia. Many have drawn parallels between the madman Haman, who hated the Jews and carefully planned their annihilation, with the leaders of the modern-day Persian Empire. Iran has repeatedly declared its intention to wipe Israel off the map, and the Ayatollahs are working feverishly to obtain the weapons to do so. The story of Purim, written in the biblical book of Esther, holds a reassuring message in these uncertain times. If we are diligent and faithful, God will find a way to save His people, just as He did in Persia more than 2,000 years ago. That concludes the news portion of our show. Stay tuned for Ask the Source with Josh Reinstein.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein, and we're here in a beautiful day on our rooftop studio in Jerusalem. My guest today is Yaakov Gaon. He's the Vice President of Ariel University. Yaakov, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yaakov, tell our viewers a little bit about what is Ariel University.
Ariel University is the newest and the most growing university in Israel, located in the biblical heart of Israel, where kings and prophets were ruling. It's a combination of value, new spirits, technology, and innovation.
It's interesting, Ariel University is the only university in Judea Samaria. It's founded in Samaria. What kind of responsibility does that give you to represent the whole community of Judea and Samaria as a university?
Great, that's a great question. So today we have over 15,000 students. We have 6 faculties. We have over 450 faculty members, researchers, and so on. We're developing today a new medical school and a new medical center, which is going to be part of the university in order to serve the whole area of Judea and Samaria. This responsibility also comes with us being the biggest employer in the area. Today we have more than 2,500 employers in the area. That creates a lot of improvement for the whole region in terms of roads, in terms of workplaces, and in terms of growth of the economy.
It's interesting, there's a lot of talk now in the Knesset about annexing Judea and Samaria, and some people had this idea, but maybe they can just start by annexing Ariel University, or Ariel, and using that as a test case to show how it would work. What do you think about that initiative?
I welcome you and all the viewers to come to see the good and the beauty of what the Ariel University bring to Ariel City, to the region, and to the whole world. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for the university to take part and to get all the benefits that come with all the good stuff that we're doing. And starting with the university was going to be the first right thing to do.
It's interesting that in Ariel, it's not known for the university, but more for the archaeology. I mean, it's incredible what you found there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right, so we have a lot of people coming from all over the world. We have people coming from Europe, from the States, from China. We have people from Taiwan coming and researching because they're curious to see how was the life here in the ancient Israel 2,000 and 3,000 years ago, and to learn about life back in the day. This is something that we find as an engine for growth and a lot of attractions from people all over the world to come and study from our findings.
In Ariel, you don't just have the only university, but you have the only real functioning hotel in Judea and Samaria. Are you seeing a lot of tourism coming to Ariel? Are people taking part in this amazing university to see it, to take courses, to be a part of it? Or are they more coming as spectators from the side?
Right, so we have a lot of visitors coming from all over the world, and we use the university as an engine for growth. With it, it's attracting a lot of people that's coming from both academia side and business side and research side and innovation side. And that's giving a lot of business both to the hotels and the stores. And we're also going to build our own hospitality place within the university to be able to provide the high demand for all the visitors we have.
Ariel was in the news quite a bit lately because you believe that you found the seeds to the wine that was drinking by King David and some of our prophets. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Of course. So Ariel University is very known for its engineering school because of 29% of our students are studying engineering, which is the second largest engineering school in Israel. But very interesting is the finding that we have around ancient wine. So along with the archaeologic, we found grapes, very dry grapes that we've been able to identify the DNA of those ancient grapes from 2,000, 3,000 years ago. Our researchers have been able to identify in the labs and to differentiate those DNA and to recreate the new varieties of what our forefathers, King David, and later on Jesus, drank as their wine.
What is the future of Ariel University? What's the next phase in this incredible story?
The future of Ariel University is to be a world-class university within a short time having 25,000 students, a great economical engine for the region, a great economical engine for innovations, for research and development, and a great place for people to study and live in.
Most of our viewers are Bible-believing Christians. Is there an overseas program where Christians can come and study?
That's a great question. We're building these days a global international studies, and I'm inviting you and your viewers to follow up and to stay tuned on our websites and to register. And I welcome you to be my personal guest when you come.
Yaakov, there are literally tens of millions of people watching this show. What message do you have for our viewing audience?
My message to you is to get involved and to take some action, to support Israel, to support the university, and to come and see firsthand the miracle that's taking place of history, what we're doing in Ariel University. Log in into our website at Ariel University, support our R&D researchers, and come and be a member. I welcome you to come and be my personal guests and to follow up on our great work.
Thank you, Yaakov, for being on the show. And thank you for tuning in to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. Now back to the studio.
Up next, the return to Zion with Karen Hayesod.
Hello and welcome to the Return to Zion with Keren HaYesod. I'm Eliezer Moody Sandberg, World Chairman of Keren HaYesod, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. Today, Ukrainian Jews are in great danger as they live in war-torn Ukraine. Help us fulfill biblical prophecy by bringing our brothers and sisters back home to safety. God bless you from Jerusalem.
I will even gather you from the peoples and assemble you out of the countries where ye have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel. Ezekiel 11:17.
In eastern Ukraine, over the past 2.5 years, a brutal and cruel war has been raging. A savage war without clearly defined front lines. Against this backdrop, the Jews of eastern Ukraine have been in peril. The donors of Keren HaYesod from around the world have heeded the call and have come to their rescue. Our supporters realize that the window of opportunity to rescue these Jews may slam shut.
Lift up your eyes and look around. All your children gather and come to you. Isaiah 49:18.
We are here to support, all of us, the Jewish people who return to their homeland, to support each other.
These Jews must be extracted from burning towns, from raging battles, and from the chaos of eastern Ukraine, and brought back to their ancient homeland.
Я решила приехать в Израиль, потому что я последние полгода почувствовала свои еврейские корни и поняла, что я не могу больше находиться в своей стране, и я должна вернуться на свою историческую родину.
Корни говорят сами о себе, было рвение, плюс хотелось, чтобы сын узнал.
Воссоединение с семьей, наша семья здесь сейчас, папа, мама, сестра.
Большое волнение, но как-то у меня сразу, как мы прилетели, какое-то ощущение было правильности нашего выбора.
Для будущего нашего ребенка в первую очередь.
Keren HaYesod's friends around the world have been stepping forward to enable this life-saving effort to continue. Many thousands have already been rescued, yet many thousands still remain in eastern Ukraine. They must be brought out now. Through Keren HaYesod and our partner, the Jewish Agency, our dreams, our prayers, and our hopes are coming together in fulfillment of the biblical prophecy that foresaw the return of the Jewish people to their ancestral homeland.
Behold, I will bring them from the north country and gather them from the uttermost parts of the earth. A great company shall they return hither. Jeremiah 31:7.
The situation is highly unpredictable, and we must not miss this chance to help. We cannot let them down. All possible resources must be mobilized in this effort. You too can play your part in this crucial mission as Keren HaYesod provides these Jews in distress with new lives in Israel. Join us. We must not forsake them in their time of need.
Let's bless Israel together.
To donate and get information, call us at 1-800-505-1665 or visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, is the only UN agency that handles one group of refugees specifically. All other refugees in the world, millions upon millions of refugees, including those from the war-torn Middle East, are handled by the UN High Commissioner for Refugees. but Palestinians are completely different. Only UNRWA recognizes Palestinian refugees from 1948. They are the only refugees in the world that are still recognized as refugees, even though the numbers of those surviving from the 1948 War of Independence for Israel are probably a couple of hundred, maybe a couple of thousands at most, but according to UNRWA, there are 5.2 million Palestinian refugees in the world. And why? Because UNRWA inflates the number of Palestinian refugees, 3 times the number counted by Lebanon. And then UNRWA alone, among any refugee organizations, recognizes a Palestinian refugee status that is passed on from parents to children, children to grandchildren, grandchildren to great-grandchildren unto the 5th generation. And this is how UNRWA manages to perpetuate an Arab-Israeli conflict, but not only perpetuate it, but also create almost insurmountable obstacles to ever overcoming that conflict, because in UNRWA schools, and there are hundreds of UNRWA schools in Gaza, in Judea and Samaria, and throughout the Middle East, Arab children, Palestinian children are taught to hate the state of Israel. They are taught that the state of Israel has no justification, has no legitimacy, that the only way that this conflict will ever end will be with the erasure of Israel from the map of the Middle East, Israel's destruction. And because of that, it is of the utmost importance that U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, has gone on record saying that the United States plans to defund UNRWA. Already, the United States has cut back more than half of its donation to UNRWA, and America is the largest donor country to UNRWA. By doing that, America has made a material contribution to ending the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and to bringing stability, we hope, back to the Middle East.
Lift up your eyes and look around. All your children gather and come to you. The biblical prophecy is unfolding right before our very eyes. The people of Israel are returning to the Promised Land after 2,000 years of exile. But millions of Jews are still longing to come home. Anti-Semitism threatens many of the Jews. We must rescue them before the window of opportunity slams shut. Bless Israel by supporting Keren HaYesod United Israel Appeal, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. Together, we can fulfill the prophecy of the Bible.
Let us bless Israel together.
To donate and get information, call us at 1-800-505-1665 or visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
That's all for this edition of Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Erin Viner, reporting from our studio in Jerusalem. Please join us again next week for all of your Israel updates.